¿Hablas español?
Sprichst du Deutsch?
If you've heard that sound from Babbel before, I bet you do. Babbel is the science-backed language learning app that actually works. With quick 10-minute lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts, Babbel gets you on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. With over 16 million subscriptions sold and a 20-day money-back guarantee, just start speaking another language with Babbel. Right now, up to 55% off your Babbel subscription at babbel.com/Spotify podcast. Spelled BABBEL.com/Spotify podcast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
You're commuting home with Katz and Cosby. Now, here's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby on 77 WABC.
And you just said that, of course, Trump seems to be terrorizing the terrorists. Iran on notice, everybody on notice. Joining us now is Shahar Azani, veteran Israeli diplomat. Shahar, are you guys getting the same sense there from the Middle East, too, that things are reshaping quickly? Look, there's already the ceasefire, at least short term, with Israel and Hezbollah.
Right. Well, such a joy to join you, Rita. I'm excited, and yes, absolutely true. And I think the most telling factor is we look to the head of the octopus of evil, the Islamic Republic, the Ayatollah regime, and they are definitely sense that they are in a whole different game now, and that they need to be much more cautious in their moves against Israel and indeed against the West and the free world and the United States. I mean, remember, it's very easy to forget that the pro-Iranian militias targeted U.S. bases and U.S. servicemen and women all across the Middle East and Iraq and Syria, almost 200 separate attacks, injuring and killing U.S. soldiers. Well, they're going to have to think twice, thrice, and more than that if they intend to pursue that kind of approach, especially with the new administration coming soon.
And Shahar, nobody in the administration, no one at all, went after Iran for keeping the Red Sea and the Suez Canal closed. It smells awfully bad.
And you're absolutely correct, by the way, because harming international shipping and it causes damage in the pockets of each and every individual. It's an attack against the free world, and it's also an attack against the moderate Sunni regimes in the Middle East, like Egypt. This is a major part of Egyptian economy, and because there was no retaliation, and remember, it was the Houthis in Yemen, which are another Iranian proxy, and no retaliation against Iran. This entire thought that if we only, pace ourselves, or if we just try to appease the mullah regime just a little bit, then things will be better. It's the opposite. It's what we call, the schoolyard approach. Unless you show your muscles, it's an invitation for war. You're just telling them that they can get away with it, and that age has to be over.
Shahar, if I was in intelligence, I would swear somebody at the White House was backing up Iran.
Well, I think that the mullahs are receiving a completely different message, and I think you can see it also in Israel. What happened in the course of the over a year since the October 7th massacre, when Israel came down hard on Hamas in Gaza, you can't even compare Gaza to what it looked like only a year ago, and the same goes for Lebanon and Beirut and what Israel did with Hezbollah. And the defanging of two major tentacles of the octopus provides more than just a glimmer of hope, not just for Israel, I dare say for Lebanon and for the entire Middle East.
Now, one last question. Why did 70% of the Jewish people vote for Harris?
I'll tell you this. Old habits die hard. But it was clear that, and that trend also existed, that there were many within the Jewish community who changed their votes as a result of what happened on October 7th, who got the message loud and clear from all of those standing after October 7th next to them,
yes,
who they thought were their allies, and suddenly became, their enemies, including the idiots, which we call, queers for Palestine or chickens for KFC, who stand there waving pro-Islamic flag, knowing that had they been in those parts of the world, they would be decapitated. So
Especially,
we are entering a new age.
Especially in New York, where WABC, we were out there rooting for Israel, telling the Jews,
Right.
telling that it's crazy to vote for Harris. It'll be the same old, how do you say it? It's same old crap all over again under President Biden.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Shahar, before we let you go, I also want to ask you one thing back to this other big news of the day, these attacks on, you've heard of these attempted attacks. Some of them are swatting, but other ones are actually, potential pipe bombs shown up at different homes of Trump appointees.
Right.
Is there a chance Iran could be behind this?
Well, Iran has nothing inhibits Iran from executing its ideology. It's part of their constitution. It's part of their charter. We know that they have been also persecuting anti-regime Iranian journalists right here in the United States. We have seen those cases in the past. They will stop at nothing. And I think the big challenge that we are facing as a world now is to stand up to Iran, not just the Iranian nuclear weapon, quote unquote, but stand up to the regime that is responsible for so much misery and attacks, and not just against Israel. It's in the interest of the free world and every citizen in the world to be rid of this sick regime that has been immiserating hundreds of millions of people all across the world. And if I can just add this, as we're on the eve of Thanksgiving, we need to give thanks to all of those heroes who have given their lives fighting for our freedom across the world, and bear them and cherish them in our hearts. And all those in Israel, the IDF soldiers who fought against the evil of Hezbollah and Hamas, so that we can all sleep safely at our homes. And because we know that what starts with the Jews, Rita, doesn't end with the Jews. And that's why we need to counter that.
And I want to thank God, because with God, we ask for God's help. I think God help save the free world.
Amen. Indeed.
Amen.
Amen. Shahar, thank you so much for joining us. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Thank you.